So yes, good morning. It is that time of the week again. It's my late shift at work. We are doing another fitness fragrance face off before I start. So the weather is awful out there today. I feel like I need something a little bit heavier, something that I can detect. And I've decided to go for the oud edition today. Yes, oud. One of those notes that I think is very hard for people to know how to describe it. It's got a little bit of earthiness about it, but it tends to be mixed with different notes, which helps bring out that note in itself. But it's a very unique one. It's a little bit divisive. Some people love it. It did get a bit of hype a few years ago. Some people, though, find it a little bit dark, not very sweet, not something they're particularly used to. I've got three kind of cheapies today, so I'm kind of going for cheapy ones for this. But essentially, if you haven't seen one of these fitness drinks face off, I do a morning workout. So I'm actually just going to go for a run today. Essentially, I'm going to rank them on 5 categories. So which one I think is the best price slash value for money? Which one's the most versatile, so you can use it in different situations? Which one projects the most? Which one am I noticing the most during my workout at the time? We'll also look at compliment factor. Which one do I think, oud can be a bit divisive. Do I think any of them can get compliments? Do I have any experience of compliments with them? And then we'll look at longevity when I get back from a run. Which one can I still smell? Can I smell any of them? And yeah, we'll give some scores on that. And then hopefully we'll have an overall winner based on those 3 fragrances and those 5 rounds that we're doing. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to quickly introduce the contenders, and then we're going to go out there and brave this awful weather at the minute. So the first one you would have just seen me spray is this one by Marks and Spencer's. This is called Smoked Oud. So I must mention, oud is actually a very expensive note if it's very natural. So Aqua de Parma do a natural oud fragrance, or they certainly were selling one anyway. They seem to be discontinuing a few at the minute. But Smoked Oud, yeah, it's kind of got this kind of floral rosy component. In the comments it kind of calls it a bit spicy. It actually says sandalwood and musk are the notes in this. But for me, I definitely think there's a rose. It feels more like a rose and oud combination, which is quite popular in a lot of fragrances. I've then got a clone fragrance here, which is the Essence Vault 341. This is a clone of Tom Ford's Oud Wood. This is definitely about the sparkling sandalwood as much as it is the oud. It's a much more lighter smell. You can tell by the juice, it's a very clear juice. But yeah, sparkling sandalwood with that oud in the background. It kind of gives it this inky, earthy vibe and just tones down a little bit of that spiciness. And then this one here, this is Ard Al Zafran's Oud 24 Hours. Very popular fragrance, this one, because it's actually a clone. Well, it feels like it's a clone anyway. It never actually specifically says it is. Of Tom Ford's Black Orchid. A very dark, again, floral, but there's certainly dark chocolate components in this. I'm just going to spray it again. Very mysterious fragrance, but you definitely get the oud in the background. But for me, there's the florals, the saffron in particular, and the dark chocolate stands out just as much. So yeah, they've all utilised oud in a different way. You've got more of that woody component with the Essence Vault 341, the Tom Ford clone of oud wood. And then Marks and Spencer Smoked Oud, for me, definitely has this spicy rose, which is very nice. And again, this one utilises some more gourmand notes, like dark chocolate. So what we're going to do then, we are going to head out and we're going to do all those categories, obviously, until we get back and do longevity. So yeah, do my stretching and I'll see you out there. I have to take my old phone, so I do apologise if I'm a little bit grainy. But yeah, it is very, very wet. Isn't it lovely out here this morning? Strange how there's nobody around in this wind and rain. Maybe they're not as silly as me. Anyway, price slash value for money for these 3 oud forward fragrances. So the cheapest one is Smoked Oud by Marks and Spencer's. You can get that for about £10 for 100ml. All their fragrances tend to be around that price. And then kind of around that £15 mark, you get Ard Al Zafran Oud 24 Hours. Again, smells very much like Black Orchid. And then the most expensive one is the Tom Ford Oud Wood clone by the Essence Vault. The Essence Vault 341 for about £25 for 100ml. So which one do I think is the best face for money? Well, again, I always sort of touch on scent quality for this round, and I don't think there's any two ways about it. For me, the best quality one and the nicest sort of smelling one, I think is the most expensive. It's that Oud Wood clone by the Essence Vault. And I do think it has got such quality about it that I wouldn't even buy the original Oud Wood anymore, because this one is just such a good copy, and it's about a tenth of the price. Now, I do think Smoked Oud by Marks and Spencer smells the cheapest. Again, it's definitely got this rosiness about it, and it is a little bit skanky. Like synthetic oud is obviously very common in fragrances if they're utilising it because it's so expensive. But this one does smell very, very synthetic. And they are quite basic scents. As much as it's got a bit of depth about it, as we said, it's got musk and sandalwood in this. It's quite a basic scent, and I don't think it's going to wow a lot of people, even for that £10 range. It's going to be one that's quite hard to pull off, male or female, because it has got that slight skanky, dirty edge to it, where the oud is a bit synthetic. It's a bit harsh, that's what I'm trying to say. It's not very well rounded. And then you're left with the Oud 24 Hours, the Ardell Zafran fragrance. Now, look, do I think it has a bit of an Arabic vibe about it? Yes, I do, yes. It definitely does smell like black orchid, but it does have that Middle Eastern vibe which you will detect if you know the original. It's not as smooth. But what I like about it, it has got a bit of complexity about it. It's got dark chocolate in it, which you detect. It's got those floral components like the saffron, which you detect. A bit of spiciness, a bit of musk. Again, coming from that saffron, that spiciness. And I think that gives it this extra complexity, which the other two fragrances don't have. And look, if it was the same price as the Essence Vault 341, would I say it's a better fragrance? No. But the fact you can get two of these for the price of one, with all this depth and complexity about it, and this mysterious vibe which makes you want to keep smelling it, I think that gives it an edge. You get a little deodorant sometimes with them as well in the pack. And for that reason, I'm going to say this is the winner. Ardell Zafran Oud 24 Hours. There's a lot more going on about it. Yes, it's not as wearable maybe as some, but I do think it's fine. And that oud isn't really prominent. It's there, but it's not really prominent to really put people off. That floral components, that chocolate component for me, adds a bit of depth. It gives it that signature vibe as well. For that reason, I'm going to say for this round, Oud 24 Hours wins first point. So we're going to go on to versatility next, once I get the wind out of my face. Versatility. Which one of the three phrases is the best for dressing up, dressing down? Different ages, different occasions, different seasons, all those things. Well, I think anything that's got oud in, if I'm being honest with you, doesn't really go with the word versatility. Oud is not a versatile note. It's very much certain occasions. It's not one to particularly dress down because it's quite heavy, and you're certainly going to find it difficult to wear in the summer. And I think a younger person who's used to these sweet fragrances is not going to want to wear it for a gym or an office environment, anything like that. So I think we need to say oud in general is not easy to pull off. So I think probably here it's kind of what notes work in combination with it to make it more wearable. And again, that rosy oud smell in smoked oud is not particularly wearable. I said this with the Master one, it is quite aggressive, quite harsh. The only thing that works in its favour, and this is not a compliment to it, I guess, is that they don't last very long. This fragrance probably will be really strong for a couple of hours, and then it will just wear off, like my running ability at times. So yeah, it's very strong, and then it just disappears because it's quite synthetic. Now, I do think Oud 24 Hours by Ardell Zafran, as I was saying, it has this signature scent quality because it goes into so many different facets. But they are quite dark facets, they're quite heavy facets. Again, it's floral components, there's a bit of musk in there, I'm sure there's a bit of musk in there, but it's a big light breakdown. But then you've got the oud, you've got the sweet dark chocolate and the florals, all those things, they're heavy, they're winter time. So you're not going to wear this for many different occasions. The fact it's got that Middle Eastern vibe just means it's going to be quite hard to pull off for a lot of people. It's one that even in the sort of transition seasons, I'd certainly want to tone my sprays down, and I wouldn't want to wear it for things like job interviews or anything like that because it's too heavy, too cloying, and I'd worry that some people would find it not their favourite smell. So that leaves the Essence Vault 341, the Oud Wood Glow. To me, that's got to win this round. That sparkling sandalwood here, for me, is a real showpiece, and obviously the name Oud Wood. The wood obviously has as much a role in the name as the oud, and I think you definitely get that. They really work in harmony, and the blend on this is fantastic. You really do detect that. If you know sandalwood as a note, this is a great fragrance. I'd say even if you don't particularly like sandalwood, I think that one takes the centrepiece, and the oud's quite happy just to sit on, a little bit in the shadows and just help out where it can. For that reason, I think it's got that wearability about it that you can certainly, I'm not saying again you're going to wear in gym situations, but I think you can certainly, as long as you tone your sprays down, wear this one a little bit more casually, because it is a very nice sparkling type of fragrance, which again just smells more modern and more in line with what a lot of men would like to wear. So 30 and up for most people, all these fragrances, but wearability, versatility, the Essence Vault 341. My phone is gradually getting wetter and wetter, and as you can tell, it's starting to leak inside and my screen's getting a little bit blurry. So let's go on to projection. Which one am I noticing the most during my run? Well, I'm about half an hour in, and there's only one I've managed to detect so far. And I did just do this with my coat just to get a little bit closer to it, because obviously the rain, this is a sort of waterproof coat, so it doesn't really soak into the fabric. But it's the Essence Vault 341. It's the Tom Ford Oudwood clone. And something I really like with clone houses at the moment that's really impressed me is they do talk about how much oil they use. And obviously, you know, most brands won't tell you that. You know, Dior are going to say we use 10 to 12% pure perfume oil in their fragrance. They just don't need to. It's not really relevant to them. You know, these clone brands have got to justify that they're, you know, these cheaper scents are actually still good quality and you're saving a lot of money. And you do detect that with this one. You detect that there is some decent perfume oils being used here. It's not just a cheap synthetic fragrance. There's definitely some natural or high quality oils, I should say, that are going into this, and that is certainly helping its performance. But I've had a couple of the Essence Ford ones that I've been a little bit disappointed by performance. This is not one of them. They're Tom Ford phrases that they've cloned have all been fantastic. The Lost Cherry one, I've got the Essence Ford 444. It's absolutely brilliant as well. And look, I've got no doubt their tobacco and E1s and all those are great as well, because they're fragrances that have been cloned by a lot of houses, so they're not too difficult to replicate. So it's easily won this round for rejection for me. Look, I do actually think, as a compliment to 24 Hours, I think it's too heavy as well. Those florals, it's quite a strong fragrance, but it's got the right balance. It's not overpowering to anyone that's too near you. It's probably one that, look, you'll notice for the rest of the day, but you don't really got to wash it off. It's not skanky in the same way that Smoked Oud is. And again, when that one doesn't last particularly long, it's not too bad. You only get 2 hours out of it, so even if you don't like it, it won't be on your clothes by the end of the day if you've had a hot day being busy. But yeah, no two ways about it. Projection winner here. I noticed it on my run, and just from experience, it's even better than the original, the Essence Vault 341. That's 2 rounds to it now, so we're going to go on to compliment factor next. Okay then, so on to compliment factor. Which one do I think is the best for getting compliments, and have I had any experience of compliments with these? Well, no, I haven't. I have no experience of compliments with them because I don't tend to wear them for that reason. Again, that's probably more on me than anything. I wear sporty attire. I don't think Oud goes with that casual sporty attire particularly, and it does have that slightly more grown-up vibe about it. And I'm not quite that old yet. I am nearly 30. But the one that my mum really, really liked when I first sort of applied it was Oud 24 Hours, and that's because she did have the original Black Orchid before. My dad bought it for her as a present, and I think she was just shocked at how cheap it was and how similar it smelled for that price. And my mum's someone who likes to wear a lot of sort of black clothing. She's not gothic, but I think someone who's got that gothic personality, likes wearing smart dresses and all those things. It's got that class and sophistication about it, this phrase, a dark, mysterious vibe that I think someone who dresses that way will really appreciate. So maybe for a woman, I would potentially say Oud 24 Hours is the best one to pick. But I do think when we're talking about compliments, I always think it's wearability that really gets you those good compliments. Like Dior Sauvage, I'm so used to that, so everyone knows it. It's versatile, it's very wearable, easy to pull off. And the one that's the best at doing that, if you can say any Oud fragrances, is the Essence Vault 341, the Oudwood clone. But Tom Ford has done a really good job over the years of making some quite heavy divisive notes quite wearable. I look at ombre leather. I think that's a really wearable leather. If you want to get into leather, that's your best starting point. And I think Oud Wood is exactly the same here. If you want to get into Oud, which this competition's about, that one is the most wearable of the three, and it will give you a good introduction. So for that reason, because this clone again is so good, it's the most wearable, it's the most versatile, I think that lends itself into getting the most compliments, and that's why I think this fragrance has been cloned so many times as well. So for that reason, I've got to go for it. But Black Orchid is very good. I would say that one would definitely win if I was a woman for this round, because it's brilliant, and this is a brilliant one. That's why it got a lot of hype online. Anyway, one more round to go. Longevity when we get back. Do you know what? I'm going to do longevity on this run. I'm nearly done now, and it's about to chuck it down, and I don't think I'm going to smell them otherwise. So I'm going to sniff my coat and see if I can detect any of the fragrances. Okay, there's 2 I can definitely detect. So I cannot smell Smoked Oud by Marks and Spencer's. Again, it's been raining a lot, so I don't think it's too much I can mark it down. And again, the material of this coat makes it very difficult to soak in and last. So unfortunately that one though has fallen off, and that's come last for longevity. So it leaves the other two. I could smell both of them. I could probably smell Ardell's Afro Oud 24 hours about 60%, but the one I'm getting about 70-75% as strong as when I applied it a couple of hours ago is the Essence Vault 341, the Oud Wood clone. And it goes back to what I was saying earlier. I think they use quite a decent concentration of perfume oils here. And I don't always put this coat in the wash. I'm going to need to today because it's wet, but I never want it to get too faded quickly because I run most days in it. And this is one that I think if I didn't put it in the wash today and I put it, back on tomorrow, that's the one trace I think that would still be there. I think definitely the Ardell's Afro would have worn off. I can tell those florals are getting a little bit lighter, and certainly the Oud's worn off a lot more. And this is an Oud tournament. You can still detect the Oud in the Essence Vault 341 alongside that sandalwood, which I still think is a little bit more prominent. And for that reason, I think it's got to win. That this will get you through the day. Certainly if you're not doing workouts and stuff in the rain, it'll get you through the day. If you're in an office job, climate controlled environment, absolutely perfect. Again, look, this is a clone. If you really wanted to go that little bit more quality, you definitely detect a bit more of the smoothness in the original. But if you want that little top up through the day, this one can go in your bag, and it's going to certainly get you through the day then. But you don't need to at all. It's got more than enough. Throw it in your bag. You can go straight from the gym to work. You're absolutely sorted. So for that reason, it's got to win this round. It's more of a winter fragrance as well, but it's got enough lightness about it where you can wear it in the spring and use it in more occasions, and it's going to last all those times. So easy winner today. It's won 4 of the 5 rounds, and it's a deserved winner. I've mentioned this one. I know a few people have commented on this fragrance on my video for this. I did do an individual review on it, so check that one out if you haven't. But if you're someone who's been considering buying this one, Oud Wood, please try this one. I can safely say, if you know the original fragrance, you're going to like this one, because it is a brilliant clone. Save yourself a few pennies. But yeah, thank you very much for watching today. Do apologise about the weather. Hopefully you'll be able to hear me with this. More videos to come. I'm going to do a new fragrance film tomorrow, so you'll see that soon. It'll probably come out before this video, and need to get my acting skills on. So yeah, catch you later.